Okay, so this is the third live stream that I'm doing, and I'm trying to get used to this. This is a new thing for me, um, but the way that I decided to do it is I'm gonna start off with a topic and start talking about that topic, and from there, if people join the conversation, then I'm gonna start at the top of the list and start going down as far as questions are concerned. So each video could have multiple topics. So, but the foundational topic will be the one that I choose to start the video, and then it could just go on to different various topics from there. And I might do it for an hour or so, and answer as many questions as possible until I don't want to do it anymore, and then I'll come back another day. So this is my new format, and then what I'll do is every time I'm going into a topic that I think is gonna take you know a good long response, then I'm going to write that topic down, that question, and then I'm going to put the time of when I talked about that topic, and then I'll put that in the description section below. So the first topic will be the topic of the video, but then the second topic or the second question, it might go like 5 minutes in or 10 minutes in, then I'll put 10 minutes. Okay, we talked about Jackie Chan, and then 20 minute mark we talked about Bruce Lee. At the 30-minute mark we talked about Jet Li, so on and so forth. So then people that aren't interested in certain topics, they could just skip to the topic that they want to hear about. Okay, um so basically the question is, what makes a good kung fu school? And my thoughts are, in ideal conditions, you want to essentially have like a Chinese martial art master that runs the school in ideal conditions. Um, that might not be the case for everybody, but that would be an ideal condition. What I would say is, like, hypothetically, you think about Bruce Lee and say, Yip Man was teaching all these people, and one of them is Bruce Lee, and he's teaching all these other students, and it's happening in China. So Yip Man is teaching all these Chinese students, and Bruce Lee happens to be one of them, and he has a bunch of students. So in that situation, it's a good kung fu school because they're representing the Chinese martial arts. Um, and I would say that would be a good situation. If you're learning from, say, Bruce Lee, then he's educating people on the Chinese culture and the Chinese martial arts as well, which is kung fu. So in an ideal situation, that would be the case. An ideal situation, the owner of the school should be very capable in what he does. He should be able to be somebody who has been practicing for many years. Over 20 years, over 30 years, over 40 years, over 50 years. So, like, the longer that he practices, the longer that he teaches, then the better. It shows more experience. So if you're learning from like a kung fu teacher at the age of 30, is that he's 30 years old and he's teaching. Just imagine he teaches until he's 60. So he teaches at the age of 30 all the way up to 60. So he's teaching throughout his entire life. So say he started in martial arts at the age of 10, and then he starts teaching at the age of 30, and then he's 60 years old and he's been teaching for 30 years. Started practicing at the age of 10 and kept training until the age of 30, started teaching at the age of 30, and then now he's 60. He's been teaching for 30 years, and then he just keeps doing it. And you know that would be the ideal situation. And wherever you catch the person, if you meet the kung fu master at the age of 35, then you learn with him at the age of when he started teaching it, or you start learning from him when he was 35, and just keep training with them for as long as you can. um So if you find a kung fu master who's 90 years old and he's been teaching from the age of 30, I mean, that's 65 years that he's been teaching, and he's been training since the age of 10. And then, then he's been training in kung fu for 85 years. So that would be an ideal situation. So the more experience, the better. So that's what you want to look for in a teacher, somebody that has a lot of experience. Um, Ideal condition, if you could learn the Chinese language, how to speak it, how to read it, how to write it, that would be an ideal situation. Ideal situation is they integrate a lot of cultural aspects into the school, such as the Chinese lion dancing, teaching the students how to do the Chinese lion dance, also teaching the students how to do the Chinese lion drum. So it's not just all about just fighting, but there's cultural aspects as well. Ideal situation, um, the the owner of the school should be very capable in his sparring techniques, and also with his students as well. His students should be capable as well, because then it shows his ability to teach them what he knows. Because there's one thing to be able to do it yourself, and there's a whole nother thing to teach somebody how to do what you could do. It's a different type of skill set. There's people that could do things really well, but it doesn't mean that they're good at teaching. So if you're joining a school, you want to have a good teacher, somebody who could teach you to get to a high level of expression, such as where that master has gotten. Um, the teacher should also be like very fit and athletic for his age, for his age and gender. If there's a female Sifu, then she should be really fit for her gender, for her age. Um, so you're not going to expect a 60-year-old to outperform a 20-year-old in certain athletic, certain certain exercises, but he should be able to be pretty capable for where he's at. You should be able to see that he continues on with his training, that he didn't stop. That it's not just all about the money or whatnot. That is something that he keeps put effort to improve upon himself. So those are ideal conditions. Also, what's really important is teaching about meditation and spirituality. So that should be something that should be an important part of the school as well, where they teach you about meditation, and it's not just about fighting. Um, the spirituality and calm you down. They should also be teaching you about Eastern philosophy. No matter if it's the Tao Te Ching, or the teachings of Buddha, because you see Shaolin Kung Fu, it's about the teachings of Buddha. If you look at Tai Chi, it's about the teachings of Tao. And if you even look at the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's art is the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, so he's pointing you towards the Tao. So a lot of the Chinese martial arts is actually grounded in the teachings of Tao, the teachings of Buddha, or a combination of both. So they should be teaching you that. And also the Chinese martial arts, it should be geared towards like street self-defense and survival. In my opinion, it's not about like combat sport. It's not about like competition, but it's more about self-development. It's more about artistic expression. It's more about achieving your own individual potential, and fighting when you have to fight, not because you want to fight, or not because you want to prove something, but it's something where you only fight when you really have to. The school should also have like, a lot of like more realistic sparring, like realistic to the point where they don't even really use equipment, but it's more of like a lot of self-control, a lot of self-control, but just more like like raw fighting techniques, like with training the fist to get hard, and utilizing pressure points, and tactics that are more for survival purposes. So for example, like there might be firearms training, or knife training, or weapons training, and like real survival type of training. So it should be designed to like end the confrontation as quick as possible, because you want to imagine a situation where you might have a 65